Garrett, I'm so glad to see you. How are you today, my friend?
Doing great, man. Doing awesome. Thank you for having me today.
And thank you for giving us a little bit of your time today. How was your flight to Singapore?
Oh, it was pretty good. Actually, I think it's because, well, it was 16 hours because I flew from Kansas City to San Francisco and then from San Francisco, California over to Singapore. And since I knew it was going to be a 16-hour flight and I was in it for the long haul, I was actually able to watch a couple good movies. And so it went by quick and I watched a lot of episodes of The Office. But I actually had the game plan of, yeah, it was great. I actually had the game plan of not sleeping on the flight and kind of just staying up all the way through so that I could just get right onto their clock in Singapore and just kind of skip all the jet lag. And so I actually did not experience any jet lag so far.
Oh, nice, nice. I'm glad to hear that. Before we move on, what movies did you watch?
I watched a movie called Split. Have you heard about Split?
Yeah,
The
of
guy
course,
with
of course.
multiple, yeah, with the 23 different personalities. I
Yeah.
watched that. And then I watched Harry Potter, like Sorcerer's Stone, like the one from 2004, like four. Because I remember I watched it as a kid and I was feeling nostalgic, and I was like, all right, let's watch this.
I'm glad you enjoyed your flight. I'm glad that you're not experiencing any jet lag. So so far so good for you during fight week, is it not?
Yeah, it's been awesome. We got here a couple days early, and so the first couple days we had a hotel that was in the city and not on a resort because the UFC Fighter Hotel was on a resort. So we got to spend a couple days exploring Singapore, and I'm really happy we did that because it's an awesome city and be able to go out and see kind of what real life, normal life in Singapore is because um, the resort is just tourists and not everyday people, you know. And so it's been a great experience, and I love the city, and I definitely want to come back and visit here again in the future.
Is this the first time you're competing outside the United States?
Yes.
And uh, how, I mean, how were you imagining this experience before, flying overseas, and compared to how you are actually enjoying it, experiencing?
Um, I came into it with the positive mindset that it was going to be an awesome experience, and that's what it's been. It's been an amazing experience. Uh, we got kind of lucky because everybody in Singapore speaks English, and they're very nice. Like the people here are extremely nice and very helpful and welcoming. Um, the biggest obstacle I would say we had faced was for the first 3 days before the UFC meals kicked in, was trying to find like adequate nutrition and like the right food to eat, especially when like we're dieting. Um, let's see, like first we were trying to find like places on the street, and I guess like all the spots we were looking for didn't really have the healthiest food, and we were like, all right, well, like I was kind of worried because my weight was kind of high at this point. It dropped off luckily. Actually, I held on to a lot of water weight from the airplane, but um, I had this Uber take us to this random grocery store, and apparently this random grocery store was like in the slums of Singapore, whatever slums there are, because there's not terrible ones. But so we're in this grocery store, and like we there don't really have anything that we need, and so I was like, oh man, this is gonna be kind of difficult. And so this guy actually followed us into the store and was like, "Oh, I didn't even think that you guys are tourists. Like, I don't know what you guys are doing here." So he gave us a free ride from there to an actual place where we could get everything that we needed.
Oh,
And so it was awesome. Like the people here are great.
and I'm sure that dieting is pretty important. You're just a few days away from from the weight ceremony, from making weight. How is your weight going so far? Weight cut going so far?
Oh, it's great. Actually, like 2 days ago, I was 156 pounds and I
Mhm.
weigh in at 135. So I was kind of worried. I was like, I've never been this heavy this close to a fight. And then again, like I said, all the water dropped. So now I'm sitting at 147. Within a span of like 2 days, I dropped 9 pounds of water.
Oh,
Just, I think Yeah, I think it was from the flight, kind of sitting still for 16 hours. Your body tends to retain water a little bit more because you're just like not being active. Um, but again, I was worried at first, but now we're back on track, and the UFC performance team and my nutritionist back at home, we kind of like reeled it all in, and we're on track.
It's been a while since you competed at bantamweight. I know that your fight with David Onama was just just that for that fight you moved up to featherweight.
Yeah,
But still, how is it for you to be cutting weight again?
I love it. I feel fast at this weight. I feel way faster when I'm cutting weight and I'm dieting. I'm taking care of myself. I'm eating right. I'm doing everything that I'm supposed to do. I feel faster. I feel sharper. And something about sacrificing and going without food, going without water is a great thing because it makes me appreciate it even so much more whenever I can have it again. And yeah, like I said, I feel like I'm like a hungry lion right now, just ready to get his kill and ready to get his food.
You're scheduled to take on Toshiomi Kazama. What do you think about your opponent?
I think he's a great opponent. I think he's a very talented fighter. I do believe that I have a greater skill set than him, but I do respect his skills, and I'm ready to, handle whatever I have coming towards me from him. And I do believe that I do have the advantage in the striking and the wrestling department. And I know that as soon as he comes forward and is going to try to close the gap, try to pressure me, he's going to ultimately pay the price for it.
And what do you think has changed since your UFC debut last year?
Since my UFC debut, man, I just became a much more mature athlete, in body, mind, and spirit. I feel like I've definitely been able to kind of slow it down and kind of build on a little bit more technique and not try to rush my fights. Kind of like what I've done in the past of some of my fights, where it's been my biggest downfall is that I've tried to kind of nuke the guy in the freaking first round. I try to put him away in the first round as quick as I can. Of course, that's always the goal, but now I try to do it in a more cool, calm, and collected form. Not so much being hectic and recklessness. Now I just try to be sharp and pick my shots, and not every shot has to be full power because we're wearing little gloves. It doesn't take full power to put somebody out. So again, what has increased the most since my debut is my maturity as an athlete and my willingness to take my time, really plot my points out there.
Still, your finishing rate is pretty impressive. I mean, that's
Thank
something.
you. Yeah, and of course, I want to continue to that point. I will continue to be that impressive. Appreciate that. Thank you. But yeah, just gonna be a little bit smarter about some of my choices in there.
And your opponent is a finisher as well. I honestly, I don't think this is going to end on the judges' scorecards, but I'd like to hear your prediction for this one.
Yeah, my prediction for this fight is that I'm going to finish Toshiomi Kazama within 3 rounds. It's going to be either a TKO or a knockout, but it will be due to strikes.
It sounds good. Garrett, before I let you go, do you have any last messages?
Yes, thank you to all my team and all my family, everybody for helping me out and getting me to this point. Shout out to all my sponsors. If you guys would like to follow me on social media, my Instagram is Garrett Armfield 135, and you can also follow me on Twitter /X, whatever it's called nowadays. But that's Armfield 135. You guys, depending on where you're at in the world, if you are back home in the States from where I am from, make sure to set your alarms for 6 a.m. Central Time to turn to ESPN and catch me fighting in the UFC.
Garrett, best of luck with the upcoming fight, and hopefully I will hear again from you in the future.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tudor.
Have a nice one.
Appreciate it.
Bye, bye, bye.
Thank you, man.